This is Brian here from What the Hex, starting our Dear Diary compendium for Adepticon 2025. It's always a bit of a challenge to get these recorded ahead of time as people still work out their final choices for their decks and warbands prior to an event, but hopefully we'll get a collection here going. For disclosure, we record these prior to the event with our locals who are trying to attend and hopefully win something. So we will be competing against each other. It's voluntary that they contribute to this. And for disclosure, I'm going to record my own first and then provide that to each of the participants so that they have as much information about what I'm bringing as they are providing to us. It's a benefit when we have a What the Hex contributor who is not attending the event, who's able to record these and edit these and not have a competitive advantage. But in this case, Adepticon being in our home turf this year, all of us are attending, so we're going to provide the interviewer's recording, as well as the editor's recording to each of our participants. For context, I'm recording this on March 12th, a couple weeks prior to Adepticon. So let's get started. So, as I said, I'm Brian from What the Hex. If you've been listening to the podcast, know a bit about me. So I'll move on to the next question. How many Adepticons or Grand Clashes have you already attended? I would say I've attended about 5 Grand Clashes, 3 Adepticons, 1 Nova, 1 LVO, and then various Grand Clashes at a local level. We have like the Berta Classic that Skylar, Zach, and I attended, as well as our own events and some others. So been around the block a bit. Question 3, have you settled on a warband and deck you'll be taking to Adepticon? We're asking people to share only what they're comfortable sharing in case they have some secret tech that they want to save for the event. Yes, I have settled on it. Happy to share. I'll be bringing the Grandfather's Gardeners to Adepticon. I will be bringing Emberstone and Pillage and Plunder. I've been practicing this deck a while. A lot of times in previous tournaments, I've made a gut check switch to something else, but I'm happy to say I haven't done that here. I've been playing this for a few months now, and I've gotten really comfortable with it, so I'm feeling quite confident. Don't think it's confidence enough to win because there's no answer to every warband and every pairing out there, but I feel really practiced at it, so it feels good. What about the warband made it your choice for the Grand Clash? I would say that, it's one of the nice things about this game system is that old warbands get new life and new additions and new rules iterations, and they can resurge. I'm very tempted by warbands that I know and love, like Gitz, Thricefold, Dread Pageant, but I've had my experience with them. I want to experience some stuff new, and I can always come back to those warbands. And the Grandfather's Gardeners offer a unique experience in 2nd edition, where most other warbands, obviously they're a newer warband, most other warbands are trying to have a new incarnation of their old selves in 2nd edition, whereas Gardeners are fresh from the get-go. I have memories with those old warbands, cherish them, but I want to experience something new instead of like remembering what was, and for better or for worse. But Gardeners offer a new thing in 2nd edition, and I think what that thing is a really unique cycle system that causes a lot of consideration, and I hope brain burn for my opponents. Hope to turn the tables on them with that, and over the course of an event, hopefully the brain burn has been taxing on them for all of their matchups leading up to our matchup, and then I hope the Gardeners bring that Nurgle level of despair and just give me an advantage in that regard. I think more than any other warband, they take the most consideration in order to take out. You have to pay attention to the cycle, which is not something people are used to or practiced at. I do think Gardeners are surmountable, and it's not something you can't overcome, but it takes practice, and it'll just take somebody who's played against Gardeners a lot, including a lot of our locals. They've gotten a lot better at challenging me. So that's been fun to watch, and hopefully I think that will give an advantage to me over the course of the tournament. Favorite card to play out of my deck? It's no one single card. What I like about the Emberstone Pillage combo is I think the objectives are very reliable. They are counterable, and that's one of the largest struggles. A lot of people recommend bringing Cataclysm because those end phases are quite undeniable. However, I think the suite of surges gets better with paired with Emberstone and Pillage, as well as more so the power deck. The power deck in Pillage and Emberstone is extremely redundant. I have multiple heal cards, multiple guard cards, multiple can't be pushed off of objective cards, and that just really complements the objective suite in that deck pairing. What is one hurdle I hope to overcome? The warbands I see the most challenge in is Headsman, purely because of accuracy. I do offer a hurdle to them in the sense that they don't get to one-shot me as they would most other warbands, so I have a little resilience to them, but I think their accuracy and a early keen eye on the wielder is awfully scary. I recently found out that Ephelims also packs a lot of innate cleave and ensnare, and as well as ping, and that revealed to be quite a upsetting challenge for the gardeners. Not upsetting, but it was like, this was a blind spot I wasn't aware of. I don't think they'll be awfully prevalent, but it definitely woke me up to respecting that potential matchup. What are your goals for the Grand Clash? I think, as usual, making top 8 I think is a good benchmark to proving to myself that I still got it. That's honestly quite enough for me. Beyond that, I would hope, because I've not made a knee-jerk reaction to a new warband, and I've been quite practiced at this, I hope that experience would carry me a bit further, maybe even to the podium. I did podium 3rd place at Adepticon, I think 23, and that was really cool. And that was a warband that was with Gnarl Spirit Pack, and while it was fun, I enjoyed all my games with my opponents. Wasn't a warband that totally spoke to me, and not as much as the Gardeners are right now. So I'd kind of like to have a more fulfilling win or podium experience, but that's more of a stretch goal. Of course, being at Adepticon now in Milwaukee kind of adds a little bit more excitement to that potential. If I were to get a golden ticket, that's not a world qualifying ticket. They kind of want to go away from the world golden ticket verbiage. Too many Willy Wonka insinuations, assumptions made. Anyway, I digress. I am happy and have the privilege to be at Worlds as a judge, but there's always that part of you that wants to prove yourself capable of standing amongst them. So a world qualifying ticket, should I get one, would be awesome. I would absolutely attend, and I would be happy to return as judge afterwards. But I have no ambitions of taking it all. Again, top 8 is my goal for Adepticon. Podium would be really sweet. World qualifying ticket would be a hobby milestone. What are you most looking forward to at Adepticon? The new convention center is awesome. We were my friends and I were able to scout out the new convention center in Milwaukee for another event, and it looks insane. I think Adepticon's just going to grow immensely, and we're going to be super proud to have that hosted here in Milwaukee in our backyard in Wisconsin. Tons of awesome food and hangout locations around the venue. It's just going to be an even better event, in my opinion, than it once was. And really looking forward to hanging out. Lots of people traveling for it. Again, the games are fun. The game is what ties us together, but the community is what really is the memories that you come away from playing in an event like this. So looking forward to making all those memories with friends that new and old. So see you there at Adepticon. All right. Hi, everyone. For this Dear Diary segment, we have with us Vint. go ahead and say hi, Vint.
Oh, hi, everybody. How are you?
So, for context, we're recording on March 20th. We're getting close, less than a week.
Yeah, today is Thursday. So, the event that we'll be talking about today in the podcast will be the event that I'll be in a week from today.
Yeah, playing in the narrative event. Awesome.
Yeah.
I unfortunately will not be there. I have to run my own event, running the Titanicus, but I will be peeking in on you guys as much as possible. So, Vint, tell people a little bit about yourself, what you'd like them to know.
So I'm kind of a polyglot of the Warhammer hobbies. I like just about every game. I haven't tried Titanicus yet, so I didn't know you were running that event. Now I'm gonna have to get to some Titanicus stuff. But I do a little bit of everything. Lately, I've been doing a lot of 40K. If you've heard me before on Mortal Realms podcast, I'm a Dogs of Warcry podcaster with Josh and Eric and the many people who have been on that podcast. I used to work at a local game store, and just generally like a part of Tundra Tactics, proud member since its inception, which is super fun. And we're doing neat stuff there too. So I like the hobby. I'll play anything from 40K. I've been doing a lot of Kill Team lately, which is super duper fun. And of course some Underworlds. And Underworlds is just super great too.
That's awesome. And what I'd like people to know is that when you were working at the local game store, you were actually fostering our own community for Underworlds here in Madison. It's when we really saw a surge in growth. That's when me and Skylar and Josh joined on. That's when the jazz ensemble was coming together. And then through your great stewardship, we grew and grew, and then sadly had to suffering from our own success, had to part ways and go to a new, larger store. But good things for us and good thing for you as well, as we've all grown.
Yeah, I was so distraught I had to leave the other job, honestly. I couldn't do the game store without my Underworlds people anymore.
I understand. Not the only reason, but it's all good reasons. So how many Adepticons and Grand Clashes have you attended? Is this your largest Underworlds tournament?
Yes. At one point, I tried to help run one with marginal success. We had a great turnout early on with, I think we had 22 people at that one. And little did I know that was a huge thing. We had it at, I think, Mox Mania, Brian?
Yes.
And it was fun, but my computer crashed. Things to know: I'm recording this on a crank-started Chromebook.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much had to jump on the 25cc motor a few times to get it to run. So of course, right? It was a few years ago, and it just the whole thing crashed right as I was finishing up BCP. Thankfully, I had screenshotted everything every turn, so I had to go through and like manually do everything.
Smart.
Yeah,
especially when you're working with that Skaven tech.
Yeah, right. Truly, the Warp Stone was not kind. Yeah, so this will be. But I've never, and again, that was running alongside Davey, who knows the game inside out, upside down, and sideways, and Phil was there to help. I had a great group of people there, so I haven't played in one. So this will be my first time at Adepticon doing Underworlds, even though I normally was over there hanging out, checking out, how you guys were doing. Because Tundra and Mortal Realms, it's like the perfect pairing. Cheese and wine, my friend. And so
we've seen each other at Adepticons, but often not in the same event. So we're excited to have you along for this one. So for the Adepticon, we're playing it. You said you're playing in the narrative event that we're running. Have you settled on a warband for the event?
Yeah. So in the last couple of years, my dad and I have been talking about. I talk about Warhammer all the time. And my dad was always sad that I was playing the bad guys, and I found that out I don't know, like 2 years ago. And he's like,
didn't he grow up with Darth Vader? He knows the bad guys are cool, right?
Yeah, no, this was like, that was always the stem of it, was I was like, Darth Vader's awesome, and he's like, he's the bad guy. And so we get into this, like, I thought it was like a joking argument, and then I was like, well, let's try it. Fine, I'll play some good guys. And so I got some Stormcast. Well, yes, as a very dyed-in-the-cloth Chaos player for a long time, I
Yeah.
got my first Loyalist Marines, and then I got some Stormcast, and I've kind of been hooked since. And it's fun because it gives me a chance to engage with the hobby. It gives some playful banter with it, which makes it more engaging for me and my family, which is cool.
Hmm.
But no, I've been doing so for this game. To answer your question, not to give you like a long backstory that's unnecessary. I'm playing the Stormcast out of the Emberguard box.
Hmm.
I know they all have cool names, but moreover, I was like, these are pretty much the new versions of Farstriders, and I really like
Right.
the Vanguard Chamber. And I thought the characters look super cool, and there's 3 of them. And be ready if you're not sitting down, you should. I have them painted before the event. Whew.
Rad.
I won't be painting the night before for this one. Everything else I will be, but the 3 models I had for this thing are dialed in.
Nice.
I might even be able to do some light detail upgrading of them as we get closer because I just have the time for
Nice.
them. Nothing else. Everything else is rough.
Panic.
And yeah, I'm thankful my 40K quads partners won't listen to this podcast because they would all freak out.
Like, what is it? Milwaukee's going to have to brace for people priming their armies in the showers of the hotel rooms. I've heard tale of that at Adepticon at the previous location, and now we'll see if that continues here in Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm planning to do some extra detail work on my guys here after we record, but it's nice to have them as complete as possible right now as they are.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. Otherwise, Adepticons I've been, I think, 5 or 6 years now, and usually do a 40K quads event. And I've been doing the Dogs of Warcry narrative Warcry event since its inception, and that's been super fun. Yeah, it's just a really good time. Adepticon's just a neat place where there's so many goofy, similar-minded nerds. It's just good.
Yeah. And then, so you're running the Emberwatch. Do you have a favorite card play or like a move that you've done with them? Like, or you mentioned Farstriders. Are you trying to replicate something from there that you loved?
Actually, I like Farstriders, but I used to play what were the Celestian. Um, oh,
The
they were.
Storm of Celestis
That's it. Yeah, I used to play Storm of Celestis, and they
from
have.
like Nightfall, right?
Yep. So I played those. I think 2 editions ago for Underworlds, just because they were pretty straightforward and easy. All of them pretty much did the same thing.
Right.
And so
Redundancy.
having that character, it feels very natural to play that guy, whereas the other 2 are a little trickier for me to get the hang of. I got a game in against the illustrious legendary Davy Calkins this week, and I learned a lot and lost by a bit, but it was
With
super
or
fun.
without illustrious mustache.
Yes, oh, I know. It was a thing. It was awesome.
Yeah, every once in a while he
I
just shaves it off and we're all traumatized.
Yeah, and I was used to the it would go down and then kind of be like a full like side beard with no goatee part. I was ready for that, and when I saw this giant like ready to box me mustache, I
Right.
was
Pugilist.
buddy. I already was intimidated. I don't know. Yeah, no, it was good. One of the things I really liked was that they can pick up a fighter and move them to an edge hex. In my brain, I've not played fast Stormcast like that before.
Right.
Right? Like with Storm of Celestis, it was like march slowly up the board or castle and hold. And this was definitely like and we aggress. Like,
Right.
like it is. It just feels like that's what the Warband wanted to do. I don't know it's not going to be smashing things like some of the Orc Warbands, but it definitely can go and stay in your opponent's zone. And I played a little bit too passively the first couple rounds when I definitely should have just been like neck deep.
Right.
Their
War Scroll has good abilities, and being able to edge hex flank like that really gets the ranger feel across.
Yeah, it's super fun, and just things that make the Castigator is the word I was looking for earlier. The Castigator better. It's just cool. It's just so cool to see the castigator with like range 5 or range 4 and just taking shots.
Yeah.
Great speed is probably my favorite card out of the deck that I have. I'm always a faster, better than stronger kind of player.
Yeah.
With
Sun
one of my
Tzu,
first,
flank him and spank him.
yeah, you got him. Go fast. I was thinking more Sonic X. I've faced most of my strategies. I'm not saying I'm Thomas the Tank Engine level bad, but Sonic is pretty much where I learned my tactics. If you can go faster, why not? So,
Nice. Yeah, and being for zero glory to equip is, I think, a phenomenal change to the cards from first to second edition. Do you have any particular goals for the event? Do you have like a milestone or some sort of something that you want to achieve for yourself?
I have missed the Underworlds community greatly. And it's just as of recently, I've been able to make some of the game nights, and that's been really good. But I want to meet more of the Underworlds community at large, because if it has like the absolute worst time I can have is if I play the people. I don't even know. I don't see an outcome where this is a bad event for me. I think losing every single game is still going to be so fun, and I'm going to get so much better at Underworlds by the end of it. And I'll also be playing with people who want to tell me a story in Underworlds. And like, I've got some ideas as to how I want to write a story, and maybe I'll write up a paragraph to hand off to people. I'll see if I can get a blue hoodie by then. I don't know. Or I painted mine orange because they're in Emberstone, right? It's fire. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
So they're all painted up lava-y. But
Nice.
yeah, Magma Draw Flame, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think this is just going to be so super fun. And I know that for 40K quads, I picked up it's going to be a tough round. They're going to be tough rounds because I'm playing Kroot. That's going to be a different kind of army. It's pretty squishy. It's got some tact to it. And the group we're playing with, we decided to be fun and goofy and do all mercenaries. But being fun and goofy means that we have to play a little bit harder than we normally would if we were all just bringing like very solid, very super strong things. And granted, we aren't like, it's not like we just picked models out of a hat as to what we were bringing, but still, like there's some tact that's going to have to play into that my brain's going to have to work super hard to do.
Right.
And in Underworlds, I'm going to be so focused on just having fun with whoever I'm playing with that I'll play like some big brain plays, maybe if I get lucky. I'm hoping that I get to play into people that do beat me pretty good, so I can learn a lot. Right, it's a good opportunity to learn in an environment that's always fun and safe, because that is the Underworld's way, and it's going to be with some of the coolest people around, because that's again an Underworld staple. So I'm just pumped. I'm just excited to go socialize. It's gonna be beer in hand, hang out with the coolest people I know. So
Fantastic. I don't have to tell you what kind of mindset to go into it. You got the best one for it. So love it. And we've missed you too, bud. And love to see more of you.
yeah, it's been great, man. It's just been good.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else from Adepticon, like as an event as a whole, that you'd look forward to? You mentioned your 40K team event. Have you checked out the Milwaukee venue area much? Anything people you know about that you want to share with people?
Oh man, no, I'm going into this pretty blind. Again, I saw this show the other day where this character, everybody else would go into like their like they'd have a thought and it would do like a little scene, and everybody's was like a normal people scene or like a normal animated scene. And then they had a character walk in, and his thought process was in crayon, and that's been me lately. Me and Sonic the Hedgehog are going to do our best.
Nice.
So, no, I haven't looked into the venue too much. I know that it's going to be good space. The event organizers, a lot of faith in them. They're very good at making sure the space and everything is in a way that makes it work. And we have for a long time in Chicago. Stromberg, but yes, Chicago land. I know Milwaukee, I think, better than Chicago for me personally. So things like
same. That's where we've made several day trips out to Milwaukee, and so we've been scouting locations and restaurants to stop by. So every time I'm more and more excited. We just found a Korean barbecue place nearby, and so hope to have a big party go out that way.
Which place? I used to live out that way.
Backstreet.
Ooh, yum. Yeah, you're gonna
really
like
great.
it. Yeah.
After LVO, during LVO we went to a Korean place in the hotel, and it was phenomenal. Blew our minds, and we've been looking for a Adepticon mirror, and we've found one. So
Yeah, I will miss my yearly pilgrimage down to there was like the horror spooky burger bar down near
Kuma's
Adepticon.
Corner.
Yeah, and I will miss that this year for Adepticon.
Yeah.
It's such a staple. I think I ate there 3 times last year.
Yeah, I that place we kind of nuked it for ourselves because I think we got the word out. We were telling everybody we could at Adepticon, and then the wait time became an hour plus. So, yeah, but Milwaukee has a lot more options, and I feel like at Chicago there was kind of a dearth of options that weren't just like normal chains, but there's so many options that aren't just chains in the Milwaukee area. So, but that'll wrap things up for us. Looking forward to seeing everybody there, seeing you there. Barging in on your event and others as we all enjoy Adepticon. All right,
awesome.
All right, Vin, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you there.
Fine. Have a good one. See ya.
Okay, now I have with me Wellner, one of our locals. Say hi, Wellner.
G'day.
Otherwise known as Jacob, but Wellner's funner. So for context, we're recording this on the same day I recorded mine, the 12th of March. So, Wellner, why don't you tell people a bit about yourself?
Let's start at the beginning. I am Jacob. I've done a lot of moving around, but I've lived in Madison for about 3 years now, and started playing Underworlds pretty quickly after that. I went to Adepticon in 2024 after only about 3 months of play, and have been having a blast ever since then.
That's awesome. We're glad to have you with us. Tagging along with our group, we're all excited for Adepticon. And how many? You said you played in Adepticon 23. Have you played in any other Grand Clashes or major cons?
Not 23, 24. But I played at Nova last year as well.
Very cool. So you went with, you went with Zach as well, and then met up with Phil, Davey, and Skylar that were already there. They road tripped.
Actually, I was the first one out there. I took a whole vacation and took a day or two to wander around DC prior.
Nice. Doing it in style.
Yeah.
Cool. So we are still a few weeks out from Adepticon. Have you already made your warband and dex pairing? You're not beholden to this if you make a last minute choice, but just curious where you're at in the process.
I have. I've mostly been locked in for warband wise since late October, mid-December, give or take.
So that means you're talking Loon Court then.
Yes, I'm definitely talking Loon Court.
Nice.
There's really not much other option for me at this point. Like I could hard pivot into something, but the amount of effort it would take to learn a new warband would be detrimental to playing well at the event.
Yeah, doing that pivot this late in the game has never panned out for me, at least.
Yeah, no. As for deck, that's a little more wishy-washy. I know at least partially I'm locked in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm taking Countdown to Cataclysm. It's my favorite deck. It has my single favorite card in the entire game.
Okay, so what about Loon Court gets you excited, and what makes you think they're your best chance?
So, why I think Loon Court is probably my best chance is twofold. One, the fact that I've seen basically zero discourse on them, and so I think they're a pretty good sleeper pick. That's what got me so far in 2024 as well. I showed up with Exiled Dead and top 8'd with Fearsome Fortress, and I can almost guarantee nobody was expecting to see Exiled Dead at all at that event.
It certainly wasn't, especially you have among our local the moniker of mad scientist, and I think the Exiled Dead were the the starting point for that and what
Very
you were
true.
doing with them. So cool, dark horse pick with Loon Court, and so that's what you think gives you the best chance with them, and I think that they are definitely slept on. What narratively, or what about the warband excites you, or is there something more technical?
Narratively, while I'm not really a big fan of goblins, I do just enjoy their knight aesthetic. Grib is potentially my second favorite model. At the very least, it's one of my favorite models that I've personally painted. It's a shame Sepulchral Guard aren't better, because they would have been who I took, as they are my favorite models that I've painted. But as for mechanics, I definitely like how their quest mechanics function. I've got a couple questions that I need to posit to the judge at the event before I say anything, but the way that they get permanent bonuses effectively on a power card and timing your use of those bonuses really can make or break the warband. Knowing that when there are 3 quests that give +1 move, +1 dice, and then if you have a bounty characteristic of 2 or more, +1 Grievous. Knowing when to time that for maximum effect is critical to using the warband to its peak effectiveness, because you get to do that once per round, and leveraging that to a tempo advantage is important.
Yeah, with the loss of faction decks, their quest mechanic really has a new style all on its own and completely unique among the warbands. Super cool. And yeah, Grib's a fun model, and among the few cavalry models that you would see in Underworlds, unless I think he's 4, unless you want to count 5 with Lugget and Thwack. So then, what is there a favorite card that you're particular about?
I've lovingly dubbed Desperate Rage the Femur Breaker, just because of how devastating it can be if it is properly timed. 1 bounty for a 2 hammers for 3 is a really solid stat line. Sure, you take 1 on the crackback, but that becomes a 3 hammers for 4 in the right circumstances and with the right warband. Not saying who.
Brutal. And about how many uses do you see out of it per game?
Generally, you only get the 1, but you'd almost always only need the 1. I mean, I was playing at Q.
Once you get the 1, it's on notice.
Exactly. You get the 1, and then the person's either dead or about to be, and
right.
Your fighter is also generally going to die. Like I gave Skylar at our local tournament not too long ago a heart attack because he brought Zandara forward, who's a 4-wound fighter, mind you.
Mm-hmm. I was there for that. That was great. And then, do you foresee any hurdles? Like, what do you think is a biggest hurdle for you going into the Grand Clash, or is there a particular challenge that you've set yourself for as a hurdle?
I mean, my basic goal, I have 2 basic goals for every event I go to. Well, 1 basic goal and then a stretch goal that I like to try to set. The basic goal is don't be an easy out. Try to take at least 1 game off every opponent, or at the very least keep it tight. As for here at Adepticon, given I top-8'd last year, I just want to do that again. I don't expect to go any further than that. I don't anticipate going any further than that, just because dice be dice, and I don't want to set the unreasonable expectation of going all the way.
I think that's a very well-reasoned goals. Being able to take a game off each of your opponents means that, like, I can still give you a black eye, and that's, I think, a real good point for anybody to set starting out. And just in general, like, even if you don't meet the top 8 goals, which are among my own, then at least being able to say I was able to take a game off each opponent, I think speaks a lot. Very cool. So the next question was, what are your goals for the Grand Clash? You already mentioned top 8. Is there anything more you'd like to speak to on that, or shall we move on?
I was just going to say, personal challenges that I see for myself. At least lately, I've become a lot more risk a lot less risk averse. I know when I played Exiled Dead, I was a very cagey, very tight player until like the chips were on the table, and if I needed to make the risky play, it was one of those. Well, I'm already losing. Might as well send it. Nowadays, it's become much more of a four dice on swords into 2 dice on guard. I mean, we gamble in this house is the new phrase that I've coined at our local, and something I really need to break. I really need to stop making those risky plays because, sure, when they work, oh boy, do they work. But if they don't work, well, you've just wasted time.
Loon Court got you feeling a bit loony.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fun, especially with the knight aesthetic. Less gambling, but more going for that valiant effort. And sometimes you just wind up dead on the battlefield.
Very true.
Especially as Gits. I know that well. So as a whole for the event, for Adepticon as a convention, what are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, just hanging out with everyone. I know that I did schedule myself into each of the Underworlds events, so the narrative on Thursday, the pods on Friday, and then the actual Clash on Saturday, Sunday. But pods I'm not like married to. Like, sure, I spent the money and I intended to go, but like I'd rather hang out with everyone. Like, the goal is to be there with everyone. And I'll make plans for myself if nothing is happening, but we're all going out as a crew. Let's hang out as a crew.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very similar to my own. What I'm most looking forward to is like the game is fantastic. I love playing it. Love challenging myself against people, but really the memories are everybody else that we're hanging out with around the game and get to chat about the game.
Very true.
Very cool. Anything else you'd like to add before we close this out? We'd like to keep these short and sweet, but happy to let you have a moment to speak about whatever you would like.
Not particularly. I can't think of anything off the top of my head at this moment.
Yeah, perhaps after Adepticon we'll do a quick Dear Diary follow-up, see kind of how things panned out, and then after Adepticon we'd all have a lot more to talk about.
Too right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Wellner. Happy to see you coming out with us, and can't wait to see everyone else out there as well.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right. Now I have Zach here from What the Hex, recording his Dear Diary. For context, we're recording this on March 14th, a couple days after my first few. And Zach, why don't you go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Zach. You've probably heard me recently on the last episode of What the Hex, discussing expectations for Adepticon here. I'm excited for this. My first time doing a diary entry.
Yeah, we're excited to do these again. We really enjoyed it. So how many Adepticons or clashes, like about 20 plus competitors, have you participated in so far?
Yeah, this is my second Adepticon. I went last year, got to top 8, which was really exciting for me 2 months into the game, so that was a good time. And then I went to Nova last year as well. Then I guess Alberta Classics pretty close to 20. I don't know if we quite got there when we went up to that.
I think we did, or it was like 18.
Something like that.
But yeah, you joined in and you got going and you just started running. So it's been cool to watch you compete, and obviously you've had some recent success with our Q1 tournament as well as the most recent league. So
yeah, hopefully keep that going.
Yeah. So as far as Adepticon this year, have you settled on your warband and deck that you'll be taking?
Yeah, for sure. I've been writing articles for it. I'm still going with them. Headsman, got to keep the train rolling, continue on from the Q1 tournament and the league and get that going. So.
Nice. I certainly know that headsmen are one that I'm wary of facing in the tournament. What about the warband that kind of spoke to you and made you want to take them, aside from success?
Right. Yep. I had a good time with them last edition. Just the play pattern of how many times can I make my big guy just swing over and over again. Just pumping out lots of damage, getting lots of fighters taken off the board. Always a good time.
Yeah, taking heads for bounty, and
That's
now
right.
cards.
Yes, even better now.
So, are you willing to share your deck pairing and kind of what is the method to the madness here?
Yeah, for sure. I same one I've been writing about. So the Cataclysm and Blazing Assault pairing. I've been running that all league, minus maybe a game or two. I think I tried a different combo, but that's been the main one. That's the one that took the tournament. The idea there being that your power cards from Blazing Assault are crazy. You're taking, to 8 or 9 ploys and 7 or 8 upgrades just from that deck alone, and then supplementing the end phase suite with the fantastic 2 glory ones from Cataclysm.
Out of curiosity, with the condemn, counter, bounty, and card draw, are you taking? Is your deck 12 and 20, or is it more?
I've got an extra end phase just to bump the ceiling up a little bit, and then I'm running an extra upgrade and an extra ploy. So 22 in the power deck, and then 13 in the objectives.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think 22 is perfectly reasonable for warbands that come with their own draw tech. And then it's fascinating for me from a first edition perspective, seeing 13 and 13 objective cards being the norm, especially for here in aggro. It's just been cool to see. And I think that is where I think that makes a lot of sense right now in the edition. Is there a particular hurdle or a challenge that you kind of see for yourself, whether it be another warband that's been giving you some hassle, or is there a personal hurdle that you have set for yourself?
My big goal is to make sure I don't hand my opponent Strip the Realm at any point. That's
Yeah.
my thing. I've been caught out a couple times just forgetting to step on a token. Oh, now they scored 3. So that's my my like soft goal there. And then Gitz, I don't have a lot of experience against. Couple games against Emmett, and he's beaten me or at least given me a run for my money every time. So I'm a little concerned about them, especially as my damage doesn't matter as much with them all being low wounds.
Yeah, the Strip the Realm has been tempting me in that sense for when I get the aggro matchup to be able to hopefully just score that accidentally. But another one is with Reckless Fury, Unrelenting Massacre. That caught me out once with Skylar, and I was like, that's another Strip the Realm card I need to pay attention to.
Yep, that one I don't feel as bad about because I'm just like, we'll leave the Sharper in the back. He can stay there without charge or anything and just deny that for the game.
Was there any other decks with Headsman that you were considering, or was it just been like what made it clear that it was Blazing Assault for you? And
I think Blazing, is an obvious choice, so just for the ability to push a bunch and teleport the headsman around, the wielder around. I tried it with Plunder. I didn't like having to be on tokens all of the time, so that ended up being something I pivoted away from. With Cataclysm, those end phases are just so good and easy for the most part, so it was a natural next step after the Reckless Fury nerfs.
Yeah, when you're aggro and you're relying on dice, you need the reliable end phases, don't you?
For sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not wanting to stand on tokens because you're mostly range 1, right? With except the
Scrivener. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you must be a fan of Sun Tzu. Mobility, flank them and spank them. Yeah,
that's right.
You were pulling out some massive moves on me, and that was I was a little envious. So do you have any personal set goals? You made top 8 last year. Are you hoping to succeed, go higher than that, or just kind of maintain?
I mean, top 8's I think always a good goal, just a reasonable thing. You can I could have a bad game here, dice go against me, and still get there. It just means I've played well. So that's the extra goal. My goal in every one of these big tournaments is just, if I'm going to lose, be a tough out. Take a game off of somebody, or just make games close, make them sweat a little bit. Or just win, I guess.
Yeah, of course, that is the hope.
That's right.
It's always interesting when in tournaments how you do all this preparation, and then sometimes you do this preparation for dice, for card draw, for obviously all your tactics and skills and play, and then all of a sudden you also have to deal with the luck of the draw in the brackets. So
Yeah, well, it's the old saying, best laid plans.
Yeah. And then as far as Adepticon this year, we're in Milwaukee. Any thing you're looking most forward to?
I'm excited for it to be in Milwaukee this year. It was fun to go down to Chicago last year, but being in the backyard feels nice. All the people were able to bring from Madison, people coming out even just for the day of the Clash and everything. Outside of that, I'm really looking forward to the narrative event that we're running on the Thursday, and then of course just seeing all the crazy miniatures, crazy paint jobs that people bring there.
Cool. So you'll be coming down with us on Wednesday through the whole convention.
Yep, I'll be there the whole time.
Do you have a book schedule for you? You're playing in the narrative, and then do you give yourself Friday to recover and kind of get the brain burn back down?
Yep, wander around. We'll see how I'm doing Thursday. I may try and dip into the pods, see if they got any room left in that, just to get a couple more games in. But I'm hoping, I think, just to try to relax on the Friday and hopefully that gives me a good headspace for Saturday.
Cool. Yeah, I saw the temptation of the Underworld's triathlon, basically running narrative pods and then Grand Clash. But as much as we love Underworlds, that is a lot to dedicate for a whole weekend, 4 days in a row. Zach, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any last things you want to add or talk about in preparation?
No, I think we covered everything I've got. I'm hoping to have one more step-by-step article about the tournament we had, or Q1, and the league and lessons learned from that, things I've changed since the deck was built that should be going up, or I guess will have gone up before this comes out. But so look out for that, hopefully the day of or day before or something of Adepticon there.
All right, cool. Look out for that article, and if you want to deep dive in Headsman and his methods. So, Zach, thanks again for joining us, and we're going to have a blast at Adepticon. We hope to see everybody else out there, and we'll see how it all pans out and maybe get a recap.
Absolutely.
All right, and for our next diary segment, I have Phil with us. Say hi, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Great job. I always love that. For context, we're recording this on March 22nd, so we're getting down to the wire. We got like 3 more days before we're actually in it. Super excited. Everybody's pumped. So welcome. Thank you for joining. I know that you and Skylar have both been trying to pin down exactly what your final selections are. So happy to get you on here.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, you co-host What the Heck's here. One of the 2 founding members.
Yeah.
So how many Adepticons or Grand Clashes have you attended?
So this will be Adepticon number 5, I want to say, because we did 2019 before the pandemic, or 2018 before the pandemic, and then
would have been 2019, and then 2020 was the first one that got canceled.
Yep. So we did the 2019 one, Davey and I, which was the big one. It was like 90 some people, and it felt like, oh man, this is going to be so crazy next year. And then, womp womp.
Oh, we were so pumped. We were so devastated when that got canceled.
Yeah.
It got COVID lockdowns happened like a week before Adepticon.
Yeah, it was happened, like we were kind of having to watch to see what was even going to happen, because it's such a big event that we didn't know. But as we now know, everything did get shut down. And then have done every other one since. So that makes 19, then
right. 22 is the first one that was back.
24. So yeah. So this will be number 5. And then went to Nova last year as well, which was basically the same sort of setup. Just one day because of space constraints.
Right. Crunch. Yeah, super excited. And all the signs are pointing to an Adepticon in Milwaukee being absolutely bonkers. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I hope I know the new space is going to be great, but I hope that like the extra travel for people having to fly into Chicago and then get up to Milwaukee doesn't deter anybody, because I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I think it will be great for growth. It's just going to have a little bit more. Maybe if you want to fly directly into Milwaukee, just be a little bit more than Chicago.
Pay quite a bit more money, but yeah,
and
convenient.
Have you settled on a warband and a deck pairing for Adepticon?
I have. I have settled on playing Kagra's Ravagers, and I will be playing them with a hold deck pairing, which is probably not surprising to anybody that it will be Emberstone Sentinels with Countdown to Cataclysm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. I love how their new identity is Elite Hold.
In a way that we've never completely seen before. And it feels a lot
because
like
it synergizes with their Desecration token far better than it did in first edition.
Yeah, right. I was going to say it's like what they really wanted them to be in first edition, but because of the way that they made Desecration work and stuff, it was always a little clunky, and now they have made it a lot cleaner and a lot easier to manage.
Yeah. So what most drew you to Kagra's in the pairing?
Yeah, so I had been looking for a hold warband to play, and I recognize that Gits are better at hold. I don't love Gits models. I was kind of hoping for something elite, something with fewer models that can still do hold. I tried doing it with Jaws and realized that they're just like, despite having an ability on their war scroll that screams hold stuff, it is actually not quite enough, at least in my practice games. It didn't feel like it was enough tools to actually get off the ground for holding. You really needed to be able to do a bit of punch to make the Jaws work. So Kagra's seemed like a more natural fit for that playstyle. Gave him a try, and it definitely was. Having an extra beefier body, because the snakes obviously are not that survivable with just the one health. And they all, well, not all, but they have ways of having multiple defense dice, which helps with trying to hold. Built-in push tech, which is really nice. It can be, I guess, in theory, up to push 5, which is never going to happen. But like multiple push, extra card draw, so you can try and like fish for those tools when you're like, oh man, this person's on guard holding this token. I guess I had better find a distraction effect or a confusion. And having extra ways to draw cards is always really great in those scenarios. So, and then I guess lastly, they just have a little bit better like counter punchy sort of defensive ability, because they have multiple fighters with ranged attacks, and they have innate cleave on one of their fighters, and they can just do a little bit of damage even while they're prioritizing getting on tokens, which I know with you playing Gardeners, you definitely know what that's like, having your multiple range 2 fighters. Yeah,
so a bit more well-rounded than maybe Jaws, if Jaws are definitely spiking towards aggro.
Yep.
Their war scroll is super versatile. As a chaos player, I love them. It's super cool to see them back in Ascendancy, or really, really shining as that elite hold build. Yeah. I will ignore the Gits comments and try not to take offense because you are making comment of my old love, and my old loves are calling to me, and Gits are. We just saw the results from the Copenhagen clash, and Gits in Ascendancy
everywhere. All over the place. The bad moon is rising.
Yeah, they do seem to be the warband to beat right now.
Absolutely.
And so you chose Emberstone and Cataclysm. Cataclysm being Emberstone being the hold foundation,
Yep.
and then Cataclysm. Was there other deck pairings or deck combinations that were calling to you, or what
Um,
made you land on Emberstone Cataclysm?
so I had looked at theoretically combining Emberstone and Blazing Assault to be a more middle of the road flex. But the problem with doing that is you're watering down your end phase scoring, and then skewing more towards aggro, which it's not bad, but it's less consistent. I felt like,
Yeah,
despite having an amazing power deck, if you do that.
right. I
Um,
imagine that power deck gets really expensive in the upgrades, though.
Very,
Yeah.
like 15 glory.
Whew.
But with some of those bigger scores, if you can pull things off, like your
Supremacy,
supremacies,
yeah.
and Iron Grasp was the one I was trying to think of, and you can get there. It's not always super consistent. Having that access to like teleports and having lure of battle is really nice, but I think that overall Cataclysm is still sort of the better option. Pillage and Plunder has some really nice tools as well, but it is so like counter to trying to do Desecration that it ends up being a bit tough to try and manage that.
Yeah, I definitely flirted with the idea, but the brain burn got really real because the timing is it really easy to trip over yourself.
Yeah. There will come, a time usually in later in round two, where you've used all of your abilities that require Desecration, and then you're kind of free to do whatever you want. So it
Right.
can work, but I felt like for consistency and for my sanity, it would be easier to just drop in Cataclysm. Which I guess at this point, if you don't know, Cataclysm is just a really nice like gap filler. It's like, what does your deck not do? Cataclysm can kind of fill in.
Yeah. Super reliable and phase scoring as well.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're seeing the meta shaken up to be going into Adepticon is like I'm taking the gamble that my power deck is more effective than the super consistent scoring from Cataclysm, and I am afraid I'm wrong.
Well, I think I was just perusing a little bit of the posts about the Copenhagen Clash. I think
Yeah, because we just got all that data in, so we're
I haven't
digesting
had a
that too.
chance to look at the decks closely or anything, but I do think that the top Gardeners player was playing the same combo that you are.
I know. I was a little sad to be like, oh, I wasn't the one to debut it on a top eight. I'm sure somebody else did, but this is the one I've seen. And but they did get fourth place, so that gives me some hope.
Yeah, you
And
could be the first to podium with it.
oh, we'll see.
Yeah, no pressure.
I'm hopeful because we've been lucky that GW hasn't given us a content deluge right before Adepticon like they usually do. So I feel like I've actually gotten reps in that feels like I've actually been practicing.
Yeah.
But I love the jaws. I'm fearful that we're going to see a whole bunch of them, but I like that I agree with you that they wouldn't be consistent overall. I think they do spike too hard into aggro, and we're seeing aggro not scoring high enough consistently enough, and I don't think they kill enough of the hold fast enough to outpace their scoring. And so pivoting to Kagras, I agree. That would probably be a similar route that I would take. And we saw great success with Kagras at Worlds. The third Italian player took them into the top 8 with that. And I will say his compatriots from Italy were saying that, poor him, he's having a heart attack every game because it's so dependent on the defense dice and rolling the double defense.
I've certainly felt that in my practice games. Aggro, I think, is the thing that I'm most worried about, because if they can start dropping my fighters all of a sudden the hold plan starts to become really hard.
But once
I know,
you lose 2, it becomes really hard.
yeah, but those same aggro warbands that give me trouble are going to struggle into things like gits because there's too many gits to smack.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see sort of how the dance of different pairings works out.
Yeah, super excited to see it all pan out at Adepticon. I like the spread of warbands that we're seeing from ourselves and our locals. So what are your personal goals for the Grand Clash at Adepticon?
At this point, I would like to be able to win a Grand Clash at Adepticon, but I've podiumed a number of times, and I
So
also
say we all.
have, yeah, right. And it's like I've started to feel a little bit worn down by like the, always wanting to say, let's try and improve from how I did the previous time that I competed. But when you're already getting, second or third place, it's like, well, there's really only like one more place to go. And trying to say like, well, the next goal then is win has become a bit of a burn, bit of a stressor. So hoping instead for this Adepticon, I'm going to be running our narrative event, and I plan to play in the pods event on Friday.
Awesome.
And so I'm just hoping to like play a whole bunch and just have fun and try not to worry about it, because like every other Adepticon I've always had at least one game where like something in the game, like either my opponent's dice are really, really hot or my dice are really, really cold, or something happens where it's just like, I don't feel like he even showed up for this game. And it ends up being like energy sort of drop in the tournament, because it's like, I don't know what I should have done.
Yeah.
It's
like we try to account for, like, we can control our deck choice, our warband choice, and our tactics in the game.
Yep.
But then on the opposite side of that, what we can control, what we can't control, luck of the draw, luck of the dice, and luck of the brackets is something that really factors in that you really have no accounting for.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's like trying to keep those things in mind, that like you can have a really great tournament and still not be the one who wins. And that is perfectly fine. So,
right.
It's tough. A lot of my warbands that I have painted are actually not really warbands you can play in second edition, but I might try and bring something else to play in the pods just to have a bit of a change of pace. But either way, I think it should be a good time. It'll be fun to explore a new venue and hopefully see a bunch of new people out.
Absolutely. If you're out there at Adepticon, don't be afraid to come say hi. There's a big blue banner that we'll have showing where the Mortal Realms are, and then there you can meet all the hosts as we run our events and play in our events.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, Phil. Hope to see you. Can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, we have another Dear Diary segment. Right now I'm with Skylar. We're recording this right after Phil's on March 22nd. Skylar, who are you?
I am the elf aficionado of the podcast.
Indeed you are. If you've been listening, you know him, and he'll be talking long enough, so I'll keep it moving. How many Adepticons or Grand Clashes have you been in?
That's a question I should have come prepared with.
Right.
What is this? This is the
22, 23, Adepticon? 24, 25. So this would be the fourth Adepticon, and then you've been to 2 Novas.
Yeah. And so 2 Novas, Alberta Clash. Yeah. So about 7 or so Grand Clashes. This will be about the 7th.
And then LVO.
And then Worlds. So yeah, 8. We'll call it 8. And then I've mostly
the most
been to
learned
Adepticon.
of us.
I've mostly been to Adepticon for Underworlds. I went once pre-pandemic for the Champions card game. That was really fun as well.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that was like my first dipping of the toes into your world. And here we are now.
Right. Yeah, that was back when I was still making day trips, and now we're full-fledged, like, whole weekend, whole week-long experience goers.
Absolutely.
It's been so much fun. All right. So have you finally settled on a warband? I know you've settled on a warband, but have you settled on a deck? He was torn between 2 warbands, but now he's settled on 1, and now it's down to 6 deck choices, or are we finally whittling it down? All right, cool. This is going to be a short diary. Is panic.
So it's my 2 favorite warbands right now are Zandar's Gravebreakers and Ilthari's Guardians. And I decided I want to play Ilthari's Guardians again at this clash. So that's who I'm bringing. More on that when we hit the goals question as to like maybe why I landed here.
So pairings.
Yeah, pairings. Man, if it was Zandara, it would have been easy. I was between 2 pairings with Zandara that I've just been having a blast with. But with Ilthari, I feel a bit adrift, leaf on the wind, because it's a different meta than when I went to Worlds, and there's a card, namely Blade Catcher, missing from the meta that used to be something I enjoyed seeing across the table and having to aid my survivability.
Yes, because you were also a Reckless Fury enjoyer.
Yeah, yep. And Everdusk with Ilthari didn't care if you had Blade Catcher. It would cut straight through that. So it was something that kind of benefited me, but was always frequently in the deck across the table from me as well. And I had an answer too. So a bit of a different puzzle now, both meta-wise, and I tried hanging out with Reckless Fury some more. I paired it with Emberstone Sentinels and with Pillage and Plunder, which is the pairing I brought to Worlds. So like Emberstone was kind of like the fresh, fun, hey, I want to invade and I want to hold, and I kind of want it to feel a little bit like Soul Raid used to for me. So those have been like 2 of the decks in the mix, but I don't think it's the one that people see behind my warband for this event. I think what people will see is probably the one I'm leaning the most into right now is Pillage and Rack and Ruin. So I think I'm pretty close to settled on that. I wanted to try, I don't know, something fresh. I kind of wanted to just stay away from Countdown to Cataclysm. Maybe I'm tying a hand behind my back unnecessarily there, but
we're all in a similar boat with that. We're all like,
yep.
Well, maybe not we're all, but you and I are.
Neither of us really just care for the deck.
Yeah. It is my new Daring Delvers. I dislike that deck. I dislike this deck. It's not without its merits, but I despise the narrative disconnect.
Yeah, I don't like that the fuse
countdown does nothing.
Yeah, I don't like that the fuse isn't always running, that you can really like find control, like wait, no, like stop the fuse for a minute here. Like I want to slow roll each of these items, and I actually really brought this deck for for free glory that they can't interact with in any way. I don't know, like
somebody thinks it's cool.
I have my qualms with it. Well, it's reliable for sure, and like Pillage is my favorite to play with, and so I also don't like when you look at the power deck between Pillage and Countdown. It's lacking a little bit. There's power gaps.
Pillage is doing a lot of heavy lifting, but Pillage is interesting because it's a upgrade deck of only 9, so it's like that kind of shows the implied power level of those cards. And so if you're then having to supplement with Cataclysm, I mean, that's just a metric for the upgrades, but yeah, Pillage is having to do a lot more heavy lifting than you really want it to be doing.
Yeah.
And then having to dip from Cataclysm is like, ooh.
And people do that power deck with success, but with Ilthari, I'm looking at I really want to jam the power deck because I'm really going to see 20 cards, and like you could say like, oh well, then like the gaps don't hurt as much because you're going to be seeing the whole deck. But I really like my playstyle. I really just want to see that jammed, so that like every card is
just juiced power.
Pushing value. Yeah, and then like I don't add like a 21st or 22nd card because I want to make sure that like I'm just getting that really potent 20, and I don't feel that potency in the Pillage and Countdown pairing. At least not just not my style. So
on the potency thing, are you also packing it out because you have the grow seed draw? Are you running 20 power cards or?
Yeah, running exactly 20.
Oh wow, yeah. So you're just making sure you see all of it.
Exactly. My philosophy there is you're going to see like 3 to 4 seeds, and then you're going to see like 1 or 2 cards from the like round
Roll off.
roll offs. Yep. But what's nice is if it is going my way and I'm going to see more cards than that. That's something that you can tell, and then that allows me to hold cards round to round and still see all 20 by the end of the game.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very interesting. Yeah, because I know, I mean, for the Ulthari's pick, like the War Scroll is just incredibly versatile with that once per game. And then, like, that feels kind of maybe a little cheap in the sense that you only get one ability per round, so you only get 3 uses. But that seed tech, being able to get those cards, you just get more consistency out of your cards. So I know I can see that as like a very appealing reason why you like them. I found it interesting then that you then were dabbling with Zandara for a while because it's just insane draw tech there. So it's been fun to watch you bounce between them. 2 very different styles with warband fighter compositions, and then they also have very different war scroll abilities. But they both have like this innate draw tech to them, and I'm like, well, that's Skylar to a T. If there was one more defining factor other than pointy ears, it's draw tech for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. So Rack and Ruin, do you think that's kind of a curveball pick where people aren't going to be prepared to counter that?
I'm hoping there's a little bit of that. So the ideology behind like the pillage and rack deck that I've thrown together is that it's going to ask the opponent to like pick your poison when it comes to counterplay. It's going to be hard to counterplay all of like my potential end phase asks. So like if I'm running stay close, which I would be, I'd be running stay close, alone in the dark, strip the realm, and broken prospects. So it's like, okay, if I'm standing on an objective, then I'm denying pillage, but I'm helping with broken prospects, and maybe I'm not on an edge hex as a result. So I'm giving up stay close. So it's and then do I need to make sure that I have fighters adjacent at the end of each round to make sure that they're not scoring? So it's hopefully going to be a bit of a mental strain playing against it, trying to constantly keep the counterplay going. Now, at the very beginning, that's a very wide open idea, but towards the end of a game, I'll have scored some of that, and so it'll become clearer what is left to counterplay. But the other part of it, so I think that it puts some interesting strain on my opponent, but I'm also bringing it for some counterplay tech. So it comes with confusion, it comes with fireproof to help me with some survivability.
Both really strong. The fireproof play feels just like your Othane Soul Raid, where you play that card, and I was like, just crippled in like that whole attack action that I needed to land right then. That's what
absolutely.
That's what fireproof feels like.
It feels like Cloud of Midnight's back for me.
Yeah, that.
But now instead of one specific fighter, absolutely nothing to them. I get this blanket of like, you're dealing 1 damage next turn. Like that's
the fact that it's a blanket is crazy.
Agree.
It's so good.
And the like the one trick that I want to pull off like at some point in time is I want to use I want cool moments with Barge. So I'm bringing Barge, and I'm hoping that
you just didn't get enough of it in first edition.
Well, so as you've said before, this is the Barge. This is what Barge should have always been.
Yeah,
it's interesting, and I think this in particular will go under the radar. So I plan on holding 2 cards in my hand at any given time until specifically upgrades, until the moment comes up for them. I'm going to be holding Wary Tread in my hand to like sneak, break up an adjacency right before scoring, and I'm going to hold Barge until I'm going second and there's a charged out fighter on a token, preferably one with guard, and I'm going to try to pull them off of that spot. And the really cool thing I'd like to do, and this is something that I think Ilthari is uniquely equipped to do, is they can barge somebody off and then teleport somebody in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are some of the cool things I'm planning on being up to with the deck.
Yeah, when you said you're kind of offering this pick your poison, and me playing as gardeners, I've had the luxury of just going like, score your shit. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing and try and hope that I can score more. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Our matches are usually really close.
I will say,
but like having the edge hex one, I'm like constantly like every time we play, I'm like, I know I need to throw the fly into a corner and just leave them there and deny you 2 points. But playing 4 fighters in out the rip is difficult. It's got me I've looked at the board several times and been like, how frequently is it that I could deploy tokens so that there's a feature token in an edge hex? And it's so uncommon. It only happened once at Worlds and I don't think it's ever happened anywhere else.
I forget that that's even allowed in this edition.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be crazy. And I like the pull to like say, hey, I've got to like lose access to this fighter just to counter your objective. I think that's interesting. And I also think that if I can reach that fighter, there's a chance that I can pull them out and then like do something like wary tread back in. So I'm not 100% afraid of like somebody hanging out with somebody on the side.
Right, because your teleport is immediate solution.
Yep. I'm not running flee as a result of just the flexibility of my war scroll. I haven't decided yet if that feels wrong, but the 10 ploys feel like really potent and incredible, whereas like in the upgrade side, I have 9 ploy or like upgrades that I feel really good about, and then a 10th like slot. So I can't really afford like an 11th.
I know that one. It's line breaker, right?
It is now line breaker. Yeah. It was oh gosh, what was it? Unstoppable, but it was doing too little in every test game I've ever tried with Rack and Ruin. I've never had it like mean something to me.
Right.
In theory, it could take like a 2 damage attack and then you stand fast, and then it's only going to hit you for 1, and now it's hitting you for 0. Like
theoretically.
Or it discourages somebody shooting you at range with like a 1 damage attack because it's just not going to work like it normally would. But I don't know. It's just never actually panned out for me. Whereas I swapped in line breaker and it immediately started doing work for me because it can cut through people on cover. So
right. Yeah. So what are some hurdles that you expect? Whether it's like, is there a particular deck pairing you're fearing? Is there a particular warband you're fearing?
Yeah, so there are hurdles that I'm hoping to overcome with Ilthari here. Zarbag Gits is just incredibly difficult, and so I'm worried about that warband. I actually feel most comfortable into elite warbands. Jaws is one of my favorite matchups with Ilthari. They're just uniquely suited to dispatching elite warbands. Whereas something like Gits, even though I have Ensnare, I don't get Ensnare until round 2, very likely. Like something has to be extremely right for me to get it earlier. And it's just they're like, how much are they going to score before I can deal with them? And are they going to be able to, like, they can punch pretty hard still. So like not only are they scoring, but they're also getting rid of my action like economy by dispatching my fighters. And if they take one of mine down, they're getting paid more than if I'm taking one of them down. So it's a bit of a struggle. My like main concerns going into the event are I'm only at 18 in my power deck, and I like that's that seems like a high number, except for when like I do things like play against Davey, score up my deck going into round 3, and then he still wins, and I'm tabled at the end. I've been ending up tabled quite a bit by the end of the games, and so I'm nervous about my fragility, and I'm going to try to overcome that. Try to really kind of pick my fights. That's another thing that I'm hoping to do with this deck is it's not asking me to hold positions very much, right? I just need to flip some tokens every once in a while, and then like nothing else dictates my position. So hopefully that allows me flexibility to like stay back or go in when I need to, instead of forcing my hand to help me score objectives.
So it kind of sounds like a full control build because you're having to manipulate your opponent even more to score your own objectives. Even
Yes, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, so then, I mean, I fear gets too. I'm trying to think of ways all the time to deal with them, but maybe we'll get some more practice in here, but because they just if you listen to Phil's diary, we were talking a little bit about the Copenhagen results and showed Gets to be number 1 and number 2 spots. So clearly a frontline contender. So barring Gets ruining all of our days, what are some goals you have for the Clash?
Yeah, so this kind of wraps back around to why I'm bringing Ilthari as well. So my goal for this Clash is just bringing a warband that I enjoy and seeing how far I can go with them. Like that's my whole plan this Clash. And one of the things that like made this decision for me is Trace of Battle Mallet has done a commission paint for me on Ilthari, and they look absolutely gorgeous. They actually came in the mail today.
Oh my God, that was fast.
Yeah, and they look incredible. And so when he when when we were talking, I was like, would you be interested in painting Ilthari? And we ended up arriving on this really awesome theme where they're actually ablaze. Like they are essentially like fire spirits with these like charred bark as like their legs,
Yeah, like he sent you image of like burning embers in a fire, like when it's got that gray smoky exterior to it, the cooled edges, but the insides are glowing.
Exactly. Yeah, but I don't think we started talking about this. I'd have to look it up, but it was around like March 1st is like when Trace and I started talking about this, and he like, wait a minute. He's like, are we talking Adepticon? Because if you're about to tell me we're talking Adepticon, I need to start yesterday, sort of.
Oh my God, yeah.
And yeah, he like did incredible work in short amount of time. Not that I think he wants to be under that sort of pressure very often. But in this case, he rose above and beyond, and I just can't wait to put him on the table and play one of my favorite warbands painted now. I actually have a few different commissioned like pieces over the years. Well, I guess commissioned isn't necessarily always the right word, but
gifted.
Yeah, warbands painted by friends, and they mean so much to me. It really elevates things that I already love, and I like no longer think about the warband without thinking about the paint that has been done by a friend on them, and it's really cool. It's really cool to be able to paint like that.
I can't wait to see them in person and see whether or not he did better than me. But Trace is a legend, and I'm sure I'm going to be very annoyed.
You'll love him
in a competitive way. So aside from Grand Clash, what are you most looking forward to at Adepticon?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to our locals being there and getting to share it with them. Just the energy every year. This is the event that we look so forward to, and it's really special. So I'm just looking forward to enjoying it with everybody, and really hopefully celebrating with our locals and propping them up as much as we can. Like doing those team huddles and getting them excited, and helping them out if they're having a bad game, things like that. Just being there in the team spirit of it all.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have a healthy local like we do, and I mean takes a lot of work, and we get to revel in it, and then we're spoiled that much more that now we have one of the largest cons, Adepticon, in our backyard in Wisconsin now, and just so excited not only for our locals, but to also you and I have traveled to multiple cons now and multiple events, and we've met these people, and now Adepticon is, I think, the destination to go and see. Because personally, now that we've experienced LVO and Nova, I would say Adepticon's the best. Maybe we haven't yet experienced Milwaukee, but I would say people need to come here, and then you can hang out with us, hang out with our locals, and our locals can meet you guys. We have many travelers coming to Adepticon this year, and excited for all that. And sorry, I'm just taking a little bit of time to gush because we've gone so far over the standard time for most of these diaries.
I noticed that as well, and I was like, that's us having fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, part of this is that every once in a while I get going down the speculation of over like tactics, and we're so in the thick of preparing for Adepticon that even when we're recording how we've prepared for Adepticon, we're still a work in progress and still live developing our ideas.
Yeah. I'm happy to be conversationally committing to Rack and Ruin and Pillage, though. watch me hard pivot day before.
I'm sorry, friends, I lied. That would be wild. But totally within bounds. None of this is contractually binding.
Another thing I'm looking forward to at this year's Adepticon is someone from the Madison local winning it all.
They can't keep getting away with it.
Path
to Glory has to stop. Like, we have to stop them, especially now it's home turf. We must.
Exactly. We felt it as the home turf location, for years now, and we're not coming out on top. So we, now that it truly is in our backyard, we gotta win one over on that friendly rivalry. So
yeah, absolutely. To the best man in war band.
Word.
All right. Well, that'll wrap things up for us, and I'll be recording a few more here. And as promised, here we're on with Jazz now for her diary, recording the same day as Alex on the Monday before Adepticon. Hi, Jazz.
Hi, Brian.
All right. And for those who haven't heard, you've been on a previous Dear Diary, but go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself, what you like them to know.
Hi, I'm Jazz, and I play at our league every week, most weeks that I can make it out. And I just like having fun playing interrals with my friends.
Yeah, Jazz has featured, like I said, on a previous Dear Diary. She took second at LVO last year, the 24. And then
24, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And then you are notorious for making like pins and buttons for us, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm
and
very
then also,
like the hype squad.
yes, Jazz of the Jazz Ensemble when we were starting this off at Warhammer Fitchburg, and you brought your own crew, and we just you were the most outstanding member of your group, and we were like, well, Jazz, so it's a Jazz Ensemble.
Yeah.
Not to diminish Alex or Matt's role, but we miss you,
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, I know. Rip Matt.
Right.
He just doesn't play anymore because he had a baby.
Yeah.
But he said maybe soon he'd jump back into the game once.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep.
You're always welcome back. But so, like I said, you were at LVO and you took second place. That was awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
How many Adepticons does this make? I think it's the same.
I think it's my fourth, and then I've been to
22,
LVO once.
23, 24, 25. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be my fourth year.
Right. And then you didn't go to any Adepticons prior to COVID, did you?
No, I did not, because I actually didn't know it was a thing until
Yeah.
we met you guys, and then we were like, "There's a convention? What?"
Gotcha. Yeah, it's strange to track. I never attended Adepticon in full until after COVID, so I was just making like day trips.
Oh
So
man, that's a long drive. Back when it was out in Schaumburg. Jeez.
it was only like a 1 or 2 day maybe, but
Oh,
yeah, now it's in our backyard and we're super
I know.
spoiled.
And now we're only like a little bit away.
So excited. So we're just 2 days out. Have you settled on a warband and a deck pairing yet, or have you been
I
set for a
have.
while?
Well, okay. So I'm stuck between two, and one of them may be my old flame, but it's definitely not the Crimson Court because they're just very disappointing right now, and they make me
Rip
sad.
Crimson Court, they're
Yeah,
better than
rip
Matt right
Crimson
now,
Court.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, pour
Yeah.
one out.
Yeah.
So an
But I
old
may be
flame
returning to my old flame of a
is it
warband that
Moloch?
it might be. Who knows?
Is it Moloch?
Yeah.
I fear it. Okay,
Um,
but what's the one that has been speaking to you recently then?
I've been playing a lot of Headsmen, and I've been enjoying them just
Yep,
because they're
I
kind of
fear
fun.
that as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
I tend to go for those 4 character war bands that
yeah,
are heavy hitters. I just like them. They're
yeah.
pretty like balanced.
Well, and you can't get more narrative than the Headsman's Curse, really, in Underworlds.
Right. They're pretty cool, and I've been painting them this week, and I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Ooh, are they pink?
No, unfortunately, they're not pink.
Red, though, right?
They're not red either, and that's kind of
Jazz is
strange,
going
isn't
off
it?
script.
I am.
Okay.
I
Well,
really wanted to paint my other set of Mollog, but I just haven't had time.
yeah, we've all been busy. So I'm surprised and glad at how quick I was able to get the gardeners out.
Oh, I know your gardeners look really good.
I had been stagnant on paint ever since we got the house, so I feel you on.
I know
getting that.
the problem is like Alex and we haven't really been painting since the wedding, and so
Mhm.
a lot of our paints were all dried up, so we had to buy a ton of new paints. So we
Right.
bought like probably 30 new paints
Right.
for Adepticon. It's a little crazy, but now
Yeah.
we're back up to speed and trying to paint through our plastic crack tote.
Nice. So are you still? Is it a matter of whether or not you can get the paint finished on Headsman or is it like where
No,
is
I
it?
just haven't decided. I'm gonna play one of the two in one of the events and one of the two in the other event. I just haven't decided which one for which yet.
Okay, and you're talking the narrative or pods, and then the Grand Clash.
I decided to do the narrative event, and then I decided not to do pods this year, and I'm gonna do the Grand Clash. I just wanted like a little bit of a break. Work for me has been stressful, so I want like a day off.
Well, yeah, that would be an Underworld's triathlon. Not even I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's cray. I think Alex is doing it, and he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I still love him.
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of getting those reps in. I would probably like curses upon me for not playing in our own event, but I'd probably play in pods so that I just got that repetition with the warband and then going into the Grand Clash. But who knows? Maybe then I show up Saturday and I'm completely like frazzled with brain burn.
yeah, that was my worry, is that I
Yeah.
would play pods and then have brain burn for the Grand Clash, and I would just be potato and very sad.
Totally fair. It's a strategy. Know
Mhm.
yourself, know thyself.
Yeah.
So for Headsman's, what was, or do you have a deck pairing that you want to share?
I'm not going to be sharing it at this time. I know, so rude.
Shocking. Okay,
So
and
rude.
then if you take Moloch, do you have something spicy cooked up there too?
I do, but it's unavailable for discussion.
Unavailable for discussion.
Unavailable. So rude.
Oh my god. Oh my
I know, I'm
god.
so
Take your
mean.
time
I'm
with
mean
Jazz
this
here.
time. Yeah. And
Okay.
the really funny, the funny side of this is I'm just going to play for funsies. So
Cool. Yeah. Both strong warbands, so you can have funds while taking heads and bounty.
I know.
So.
Just crush them into the dirt with kindness, right?
That is Jazz's formula here.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll skip over favorite card, I suppose. Or is there a favorite like play? Is there
I
something you
mean,
want
my
to pull
all-time
off?
favorite card right now is Twisted Knife, just because of like memories. But it's so different now, and I just love that Grievous. It's so mean.
Yeah, shank 'em deep. That's nice.
Yeah.
Is there a hurdle or something that you're looking to overcome? Something you fear having to fight?
I've been playing Alex a bit with Kagras, and I personally have a hard time against them just because of like my play style, and they like to be on tokens, and like that's hard for me because like I want to be in tokens sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the gits are kind of annoying right now, and I don't like
Yeah.
them. They're so rude. And
Yeah, my
Ephraim,
old love's calling to me.
yeah, I know it is.
And then Ephraim, has that been giving you problems?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they have cleave and ensnare on demand, and
yeah,
it vexes
it's
me
not
as
very
the
nice.
gardeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have
The
the
gardeners
ping
I
so
find
that
interesting. I was playing them for a while. They're fun.
yeah.
You just got to keep an eye on that tracker. You got to pay attention where it is.
No, you can just ignore it. I find it's
No,
fine
no,
if
that's
you
not
just
that. No, that's not how this works, Brian.
it works for me.
I'm sure it does as a playing them, but when you're playing against them, you really got to pay attention to that 3 damage.
Yeah, if you don't pay attention to it, then the narrative comes in with that Nurgle despair.
Mm-hmm.
So then, do you have any goals that you want to set out for yourself, either in pods and or the Grand Clash?
I think my goal for this Adepticon is just to go and have fun.
As said previously, she's
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's a guarantee, so that'll be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it'll be super fun. I'm super excited to like see all my friends and then see some friends we haven't seen in a while. Like maybe the professor will be there.
Oh, I hear he is.
Yeah, and Jimmy.
Yep.
Some other people.
Yeah, we're gonna meet. We're gonna be able to see all the East Coast crew again.
Nice. That's super
yeah.
exciting. They're all super nice.
Yeah, I love those guys.
I'm super excited to like make new friends and just get some games in, and it's always fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So she wants to meet people. So if you see the red hair, you know it's Jazz. Go say hi.
Yeah.
And
I do have
she'll
bright
be
red
hanging
hair.
out with us. So we're all going to be kind of mingling. So don't be afraid to say hi if you're wandering around the
Maybe you
Underworld's
might
crew.
even get a treasure from me if you see me.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
always got
maybe.
secret trinkets.
Secret trinkets. Yeah, Brian's always like, "What are you crafting up?"
Yep. She's like, I can't make it to Underworlds. I was like, what's your secret now? Like,
I was
what's your
crafting.
project? Yes, of course. Always crafting. It is nice though when people come to our locals that we usually have a few, usually yourself and my wife, doing some crafting as well. If people just look for a social hangout.
Yeah, sometimes people like are, a little drained from work and they don't want to do a game and they just want to hang out, or they play one and not two.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to just hang out, socialize. Sometimes Brendan and I do that, or sometimes Danielle plays with us, or crafts with us. So it's really fun.
Yeah, not all of us are gaming sadists. Just more. Just
yeah. Sometimes I get burned out. Sometimes
that's fair.
But
all right. Is there anything else you'd like to pitch or talk about? Excited, looking forward to at Adepticon?
I think the only thing I can think of that I'm super excited is to see Davey in one of his tracksuits again. I really want to see the tiger one again. That looked really good on him, and it was funny. It was great.
I totally agree. He's got to start working in father son combos.
Like him and Emmett need to wear like something cool.
That would be
that's my one ask,
insanely adorable.
Davey.
And
I know you're
awesome.
going to listen to this, so I hope he wears one of his fun tracksuits and him and Emmett are like matching or something.
Well, and their family always does like a trip right for spring break, and so they're traveling, and then they will return to Wisconsin on like the Friday or Saturday, and then they're gonna come up. So hopefully their tracksuits are already packed.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another Dear Diary, and can't wait to see you and everyone at Adepticon.
Yes, I will see you there. It's going to be fun.
All right. We're back for another Dear Diary segment. Today I'm with Alex. Say hello, Alex.
Hi, everybody. This is Alex.
And we are recording on the 24th of March, so just 2 days until we're at Adepticon. So, Alex, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
I am Alex, and I think this is going to be my fourth Adepticon. I don't know if I can really recall my first time.
Was it before or after the pandemic?
I think it was before, so I don't even remember. So that's why I think it's the fourth Adepticon I've been to. But I've attended, Grand Clashes at LVO and our local
Right.
tournaments and such. But
Yeah. Well, Alex, you've been on for Dear Diaries in the past, and we've made reference to you a lot because you are our local Kagras player.
Yep.
And also you have the YouTube channel, Shea Glass Reflections.
Yeah, I need to keep doing stuff for that. It's been on hiatus because of life, getting married and
Oh, yeah.
getting a cat and
Yeah, we've all been busy, but that is where you have some narrative battle reports as well as we house the pink slip matches there. So that's been cool.
yeah. And I just wanted to throw in real quick. I have something big in the works to start making those videos again. So
Awesome.
hopefully soon.
You also have made a couple custom trophies for our local events. Just gave out a big metal dice at our Q1 tournament, and Zach took that home. Super cool to put on the mantle. Men who wears many hats, except for when it comes to warbands. It's chaos for Alex. So for Adepticon, you're playing in the Grand Clash as well as the narrative. Is that correct?
And the pod, so I'm
And the pods.
competing in all of them.
Triathlon.
And
Nice.
part of that is, like I said, I've championed Kagras since they've been released, and I've become close to podium, but I've never taken a win with Kagras. And I've explored and taken wins with other warbands, but I want to win something with Kagras, and so that's why I'm going to compete in the pods, and hopefully I can just take a pod rather than worrying too much about the Grand Clash and whatnot. But I hope to make it to day 2 at least this time, because I don't think I've ever made it to day 2 at the Grand Clash with Kagras.
That's fair. They're in a lot better position, so I think you will benefit from. Like previously, they kind of had a clunk with the desecration, and so now in V2 they can both desecrate and hold. So I think they have a really cool elite hold role now in the game.
Yeah,
that's cool, and I really like the idea of pods. I wish I could be participating in that because I think it's great as like a better all comers kind of event rather than the Grand Clash kind of being the ultimate beat phase. Being able to split up into smaller pods sounds like a great time. Unfortunately, I have my own event to run, so. At the Grand Clash, what are you planning to bring? And I think we know.
Yeah, we definitely bring in Kagras, and I think the meta choice is Emberstone and Cataclysm, but I am not a huge fan of Cataclysm because I like the story that the game tells as I play it, and when my scoring tells me to put out the fuse that I lit at the beginning of the game, what's the point of running Cataclysm? Because it just breaks the narrative for me.
I totally agree. I think there's some cool cards in Cataclysm, but narratively and functionally, I think the deck is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think if it was a mandatory to keep track of your tracker, rather than just being like, nah, I'll just put out the fuse now since I've done enough.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. So what are you bringing instead then, if not the meta pick?
Instead, I am going Emberstone, of course, because now that I can finally hold, I want to be able to score off holding, and Emberstone has some really good upgrades and gambits. One in particular, Switch Things Up, I think is really spicy with Kagras because you could get, your 2 desecration tokens with 1 fighter on an objective or on a treasure, because you can things up and then desecrate and get.
The desecrate transfers with that objective when you send it. That's very cool.
You can do weird mind games with your opponent by, trading it into their backfield if they want to go aggressive, or they can try and go deny your.
Just repeat that real quick. He's playing mind games with your opponent because you can transfer it into their backfield.
Yeah, and then they have to decide, oh, do I want to go try and kill them or stop their inspire or slow their abilities? But
Love that.
Since it's just every power step that I can desecrate, it doesn't feel too bad if they, take that option to try and deny if I'm trying to stall, my fighters dying.
Right.
So,
It feels like a heavier tax on them to thwart it, whereas if they do, you're like, okay, well done.
Yep.
Very cool. And then you bring in Emberstone and
Rack and Ruin, because
spicy.
it has the control that I liked from Underworlds 1.
Okay.
And I'm trying to recall deck names outside of, Breakneck Slaughter that had the impetus and whatnot that you could really manipulate your opponent's positioning with. And
Yeah.
I liked the control that gave me in making my opponent, give them nothing but bad choices, and hopefully that they, make the right one in my eyes, so that I can continue with my game plan.
Right.
But Rack and Ruin has some really good cards, and compared to Cataclysm, more defense, and
Yeah.
that's what I think you need when you're holding. So
Yeah, Fireproof and Desperate Defense, both really strong
yeah, absolutely. But
for
it's
managing that offense when you see the wind up.
yep. Also sleeper good is Fiery Temper.
Yeah, Fiery Temper is another card that I'm envious of. Like, if we ever do get back to a day where we start playing Championship, I can make a fierce deck.
Right.
But like Wreck and Ruin would definitely be the third deck that I'm like drawing the most from for my current build with Gardeners. But yeah, I really like that kind of that elite hold. I feel like you and I are kind of doing similar things, and you and I have some pretty fierce matches with that. And you're dealing with totally different tool sets than I am. But Rack and Ruin also gives you access to Confusion. You already had that with Emberstone, but I think that really marks Rack and Ruin as a control deck. And yeah, like V1, that's a really spicy pick. I like that meta change up.
Yeah, and especially because I need the control in the sense of I want to fight on my terms. I want to invade on my terms. I want to hold objectives on my terms. And so if I can, make that, my choice, then it works out,
Very iron fisted tyrant with Kagra here. Very cool. So do you have a favorite card or a favorite play that you want to execute?
I don't know if I've got like a particular combo of cards that, is like a super spicy combo, because there's really good combos all over the place. But I think if I can be able to get to round 2 or 3 with my abilities, that's where insanity can really happen, because you can get like a 3 or 4 hex push next to an enemy, and that's a move. That's a charge. But instead of charge, you've just basically been pushed, and now you can just take a swing. So if I
I've seen
can,
you do that in round 1, so I don't think it has to wait until round 2.
no, but like if you can get up the tokens and get the desecration, having a 3 or 4 hex push is wild spicy. Especially if
I
like
have felt it.
getting onto an objective that would normally just be impossible, or just like doubling your move for a turn without having flee in your hand or something.
Yeah, if round 1's going well enough, keep that in your back pocket.
Yep. But otherwise, reading your opponent and just trying to like fireproof at the key moment where they're like,
Right.
now I have to do something else, and I'm in a pickle.
Yeah,
But,
I definitely feel that with Gardeners when I land on the 3 damage and you're like fireproof. I'm like, nope. So are there any particular hurdles that you foresee? Is there a matchup that you're looking to avoid, or a
I feel like elites are tough because generally Coggers lose the stat check against them. And
Sure.
especially if they have a unit that can just eliminate fighters in one swing. Headsman.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Mollog.
Yeah.
Or most of the elites, if they can hit for 3 damage or something, that's pretty scary already. So,
Yeah, I imagine also Borgits with Uglug and Cleave has to be.
oh yeah, I fear Cleave.
Yeah, so do I.
I recently added Cleave to my deck because I'd be against somebody who's 1 or 2 block that just I'd be infuriated rolling dice at them. So it's like I
Right.
need to get through that 1 block. Like, come on.
Yeah, Kenai's great, but Cleave is just guaranteed. Like, because Kenai
Yeah.
you can still roll a fail, but I again think that those accuracy cards like Cleave and Ensnare, even if it's not as good as Cleave, is still super good. Like, I mean, if you're rolling 3 dodge, then it's better than Cleave. Like, and being able to switch that on when needed and being able to deny Cleaver and Snare, I think is going to be even like a bigger they're undersold right now but I think they will get more and more powerful. So adding those in now, I think is under the radar pick. Maybe not too obvious, but I think it's still underrated.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned for goals, you wanted to make the day 2 cut for the Grand Clash. Is there any other kind of milestones that you want to hit?
Like I said, if I can podium in a pod or maybe even the narrative event, even though for the narrative event I'm going to be probably playing Godshorn Hunt or something ridiculous.
Love it.
But I would love to be able to show players that I've never faced how good Coggers are, but also like not necessarily take it in 2 games every time, but maybe go to 3 games and just have good games with people I've never played with, I guess.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, always great to be able to meet new faces, and every time we go to Adepticon, it's like hanging out with the people always is the thing that I remember most. Yeah, love it. And there's times where I'm in the bracket and I'm like, I really don't want to face them, but I do want to play against them because I've interacted with them, I've met them, but I haven't been able to test my mettle against them. And sometimes you you want to, and then you're like, but they picked the warband that I fear and I don't want to.
Yep.
So yeah, what else are you looking forward to most at Adepticon this year?
I guess if I don't make it into day 2, or if I do make it into day 2, either way, I hope it to be the highest ranked Coggers player, because I assume this is going to be one of the first times there's going to be more than one Coggers, because there's more than one at Worlds, but also just in the new edition, they tend to be pretty good. So
yeah, very cool. I like that. All right, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everybody at Adepticon.
Rock on! What the heck?
All right. Hello. And who are you?
I'm Emmett.
All right, Emmett. And how many Adepticons or Grand Clashes or either one of those have you attended?
1.
One what?
1 Grand Clash.
And that was which one?
Nova.
All right. Have you settled on a warband and deck you'll be taking for Adepticon?
I'm going to be taking Pillage and Plunder, Countdown and Cataclysm with Zarbag's Gits.
A real powerful combo. I don't know if you know this, there was just a Grand Clash over in Copenhagen, and do you know who won? What warband?
No.
Gits. All right. What about that warband made it your choice for your Grand Clash?
Well, I've been playing it a lot, and it's fun to have a bunch of fighters.
Makes sense. Do you have a favorite card that you're bringing, and why?
My favorite card is my War Scroll, because it gives me all my abilities.
Do you have a favorite ability on that War Scroll?
Probably Scurry.
Yes. I was hoping you'd say the movement one, then I don't have to disown you. So, what is one hurdle you hope to overcome? Like something you hope to not forget, or a mistake you hope not to make, or any kind of challenge that you are hoping to get past?
I think I want to try to get my games in faster.
I think that's a really good goal. I think we'll have a little more time. I didn't look at the rule set, but we'll have a little more time than we had at Nova, so that helps. And you're really practiced with this warband, so I'm hoping that helps too. What are your goals for the Grand Clash?
To have fun.
All right. And what are you most looking forward to at Adepticon?
Playing Warhammer.
Getting to play for 2 days in a row. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Who are you?
I'm your dad, Davey.
How many Adepticons or Grand Clashes have you attended?
Oh, I'm going to get this wrong, but I think this will be my 4th Adepticon, because I went to one with Phil and 2 previously with the crew. Sometimes I'll show up and I'll just get there for part of it, so that makes it a little hazy. And then as far as Grand Clashes go, I've been to Nova, and I think I've done 2 Grand Clashes at Adepticon, so this might be my 4th Grand Clash ever.
No, you forgot LVO.
Somebody might correct me. Somebody might know me better than I know myself, but I think that's my answer.
Nice. Have you settled on your warband and deck you'll be taking?
Unfortunately, not really. I've been playing a lot of Thundrix Profiteers, and specifically Zach Newcomb's build that he brought to the Cherokee Open, mostly because I really like Rack and Ruin and don't see it all that often. It has all these kind of fun positioning things. My worry is that I think it actually takes a lot of practice, and I don't have that much practice with it. So there's an off chance that I will bail out onto Thricefold Discord, probably using Blazing Assault and Countdown to Cataclysm.
What about your warband made it your choice for the Grand Clash?
Well, the Thundrix, because I painted those up before, and so it'd be nice to have those. I painted them for you, so you could bring them to Nova last year. And I had used them previously, and then I just really liked the idea of Zach's build, and also there was a build at Warhammer World Grand Clash. It was a completely different deck, but I like the idea of a warband that I hadn't seen all that much. I always kind of have a sweet spot for warbands that haven't played that much. And then the possibility of Thricefold is just because there'd be a cool kind of symmetry of the last Grand Clash I did in first edition, taking the same warband for the first Grand Clash I do in second edition.
What's your favorite card that you're bringing, and why?
In Thundrix, the Pillage and Plunder with Rack and Ruin build, there's a bunch that I really like, but Confusion actually is in there. For some reason, every time I have to play now without Confusion, I feel like really scared. So getting to have that in my build is fun. You can get some really cool plays. And less I would say Illusory Fighter is pretty incredible. Would be the one for Thricefold, that Blazing Assault build. Illusory Fighter is one of my all-time favorites.
What is one hurdle you hope to overcome?
If I'm doing Thundrick, I'm hoping that I don't outthink myself. In one of my most recent games, I denied myself 3 glory because I was so worried about the other person having stripped the realm that I flipped so I was holding treasure, and then totally did not realize I was about to deny myself 3 glory of my own, including 2 inspires. So, and then right at the end of the game, after all that work to deny it, I just forgot to delve, and so he scored strip the realm on the very last power step. And sometimes I just get kind of too casual or too wrapped up in thinking I've already done something. So I'm hoping to not have any big game losses because I did that.
What are your goals?
Well, for the Grand Clash this time, because I just don't have very much practice, I kind of got busy with work and doing other stuff. My goal is to, like you, have fun. I hope I can get to the end and feel like I gave everybody a good game, didn't make anybody just have a super easy game, but make sure that everybody had fun. So I think I'm going to be happy this time if I can get in about the 50-50 wins and losses, and just kind of stay close in as many of the games as I can.
Nice. What are you most looking forward to at Adepticon?
Well, back when I first started podcasting, I was doing the Mortal Realms with Eric, and we had one guy that actually had the name the Mortal Realms. He had that email address, and that is Mal. And Mal actually joined the podcast for a few episodes. We never met him, so he was on for like the first 4 or 5 episodes. But he's actually going to be there. He's playing, I think, Horus Heresy, but might get the 3 original members of the Mortal Realms network all in one place to get a picture together, which might be pretty cool. So that, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the various folks coming in from out of town. And I think we're going to try and bring Blood on the Clock Tower and see if we can do a Saturday night game of that. So
Yeah.
Emmett's doing a fist pump here. Emmett, I think we're the last 2 interviews. We'll see. I think the editing is going to be done by Phil. But if he puts us last, then we have to take care of, you know what, the Flavitext quiz. Are you ready for your first Flavitext quiz?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's from your deck. And I'll give you a hint because you can see the card that I'm holding by the sleeve. We all have the same sleeve, so you know this is an objective. It's unattributed. It's not always about winning, but rather how troublesome you can be before getting crushed. I can give you a hint if you want one.
Sure.
I'll give you it's an end phase. And it's got a picture of pegs pointing at one of Kagra's Ravagers. Worth 1 glory. Are you mentally going
It's
through?
not the flippin' no. It's against the odds.
That's it. We have a recommended listening. This one is by a band called Dinosaur Jr., who I've heard of for a long time. Jay Mascis is like a legend in a lot of the music circles that I enjoy, but somehow I've never really listened to them. And so you and I just listened to a song called Plans, and we thought that was pretty cool. So your recommended listening is Plans by Dinosaur Jr. For What the Hex, I've been Davey.
And I've been Emmett.